The young and the restless spoilers. Victor Newman, the powerful and often unpredictable patriarch of the Newman family, finds himself in the midst of an unsettling revelation. For years, Victor has been confident in his familial ties, but new information has come to light that leaves him both fearful and confused. Kyle Abbott might be his son. This revelation rocks the foundation of everything Victor thought he knew about his family and threatens to turn his world upside down. The mystery of Kyle's parentage. For a man like Victor, whose past is marked by numerous relationships and affairs, the possibility of having another illegitimate child is not out of the question. Victor has always been known for his charm and his ability to win over women, often leaving behind broken hearts and unspoken secrets. It's no surprise that Kyle, with his strong personality and connections, could be the product of a past that Victor is trying to bury. Diane Jenkins, the woman who knows the truth, has been careful not to acknowledge it publicly, always sidestepping any conversation about Kyle's true paternity. Victor, for his part, has spent years building his empire and family, never fully considering the possibility that Kyle could be his. But now, with the secret hanging in the air, Victor is starting to question everything he thought he knew about himself and his legacy. This is no small matter. If Kyle is indeed his son, it would forever change the dynamic between the Newman and Abbott families. Victor's inner turmoil and fear. Victor, a man who is usually in control of every situation, finds himself shaken by this potential truth. His usual confidence is shaken, and for once, he finds himself unable to predict the future of his family and his empire. The thought of having another son, especially one connected to the Abbott family, is a difficult pill for Victor to swallow. The Newman and Abbott families are already at odds, and the revelation that Kyle is his son could ignite an explosive war between the two dynasties. As Victor grapples with this possibility, he is filled with a mix of emotions. Fear, doubt, and the potential loss of control cloud his judgment. What does this mean for his relationships with his children, particularly Nick and Victoria? If Kyle is indeed his son, how will they react? How will Nikki feel about the situation, knowing that it could turn their carefully constructed lives upside down? Victor knows that the truth, no matter how much he wishes to avoid it, could create chaos that he may not be able to control. The DNA test, a shocking revelation. Victor, unable to shake his doubts, takes matters into his own hands and secretly orders a DNA test to confirm the truth. When the results come back, they are clear and undeniable. Victor Newman is Kyle Abbott's father. The shock of this revelation hits him like a thunderbolt, leaving him reeling. For all his power and influence, Victor now faces a reality he never anticipated. This is more than just a personal crisis, it's a game-changer for the Newmans and the Abbotts. If the truth comes out, Victor's entire legacy could be altered forever. The ramifications would be far-reaching. Kyle's place within the Abbott family could be questioned, and Victor's reputation as a family man could be tarnished. How will the Newmans react to this? Will they accept Kyle as one of their own, or will they reject him as an intruder? Jack's secret, a man who knows more than he lets on. For Jack Abbott, the knowledge that Kyle might not be his biological son has always been a quiet, well-guarded secret. Jack has known for years that Kyle's paternity was always in question, but he's kept this information to himself, not wanting to stir up any unnecessary drama within the Abbott family. Jack has always been protective of Kyle, seeing him as a son in every sense, even if the biological connection might not be as strong. However, Jack's secret is now in jeopardy. As the truth about Kyle's paternity threatens to surface, Jack must decide how to handle this information. He is torn between his loyalty to Kyle, whom he has raised as his own, and the reality that this truth could destroy their family dynamic. Does Jack confront Victor and reveal the secret, or does he remain silent, hoping the truth stays buried forever? Jack's careful balance of family and business could be shattered if the paternity of Kyle becomes public knowledge. The fallout, a family torn apart if Victor decides to reveal the truth about Kyle's paternity, the impact on both the Newman and Abbott families would be monumental. Kyle's place in the Abbott family would be thrown into question, and his relationship with Jack, the man who raised him, would likely be tested. Kyle has always seen himself as an abbot, but now, with the truth coming to light, his identity is called into question. Will Kyle still feel like a true abbot, or will he gravitate towards his biological father, Victor? For the Newmans, the revelation that Kyle is Victor's son could further strain the already fragile relationships within the family. Nick and Victoria, who have always seen themselves as the natural heirs to Victor's legacy, might feel threatened by the sudden appearance of another potential heir. Would they accept Kyle as part of the Newman family, or would they see him as an outsider trying to steal what they believe is rightfully theirs? As for Victor, he must come to terms with what it means to have a son in Kyle, someone who has always been a part of the Abbott world. Will Victor try to integrate Kyle into the Newman family, or will he keep him at arm's length, using his paternity as a weapon to gain control over the Abbotts? The secret coming to light: the question is no longer whether or not Victor will reveal Kyle's true paternity, it's when and how. The truth will eventually come out, and when it does, it will tear both the Newman and Abbott families apart. The power struggle between these two families has always been intense, but this new revelation will raise the stakes even higher. Kyle, now knowing the truth about his parentage, will have to decide where his loyalties lie, with Victor, his biological father, or with the Abbott family, the only family he has ever known. The future of Kyle's relationships with both Victor and Jack will be fraught with tension, and his decision will have lasting consequences for both families. In Genoa City, where power, family, and business are always intertwined, this revelation will create shockwaves that could forever alter the landscape of the city. Both the Newmans and the Abbotts will be forced to confront truths about themselves, their legacies, and their future. How will this truth affect Kyle's future? And how will Victor use this newfound information to further his own goals? One thing is certain: the truth about Kyle's paternity will not only shake the foundations of the Newman and Abbott families but will also define the next chapter in their drama-filled legacy. Diane Jenkins has always been a complex character on The Young and the Restless, but her latest actions have stirred up a storm of emotions, both for herself and those around her. The secret she's been hiding for so long, a brief night spent with Victor Newman, has come back to haunt her in ways she never could have anticipated. The consequences of that one night of weakness are now threatening to unravel her life and the fragile relationships she's tried to build in Genoa City. Diane's guilt and self-hatred for Diane, the memory of her night with Victor is nothing short of a nightmare. A moment of weakness, a lapse in judgment, and now she is paying the price. She's always had a complicated relationship with Victor, full of tension, desire, and conflict, but this time, it wasn't just a passing fling, it led to something far more dangerous: the possibility that Victor could be Kyle's biological father. Diane has spent years trying to move on from that night, but now the truth threatens to destroy everything. Her anger towards herself is palpable, and she loathes the decision she made. She never imagined that her actions would spiral out of control, eventually leading to a situation where Victor has the upper hand and the ability to use this secret against her. Diane's self-loathing is evident in the way she isolates herself, unable to shake the feeling that she's doomed herself by allowing Victor to have such a powerful hold over her. In her mind, she betrayed Jack, the man she claims to love, and in doing so, she has caused him unbearable pain. Victor's power play, as Victor Newman always does, he's seizing the opportunity to use the situation to his advantage. Victor has always been a master manipulator, and now he has a golden piece of leverage in his hands: the truth about Kyle's parentage. Victor is not a man who lets opportunities slip away, and with this knowledge, he has a chance to not only control the situation but also use it to destroy Jack Abbott. For Victor, Jack represents a rival who has always been a thorn in his side, particularly when it comes to family and business. But now, with the secret of Kyle's paternity in his grasp, Victor sees a way to break Jack, to take away the one thing that has always grounded him: his family. Victor's strategy is simple. Use this information to shatter Jack's world, exposing the truth in a way that will forever damage his relationship with Kyle and ultimately diminish Jack's influence within the Abbott family. Victor knows that the one thing Jack values most is his family, and by revealing that Kyle might not be his biological son, Victor can strip Jack of that very identity. This revelation will not only hurt Jack deeply, but it will also place a permanent wedge between him and his son, turning what was once a close father-son relationship into something fraught with anger and betrayal. Victor will use the truth as a weapon, not just to defeat Jack, but to diminish his ability to retaliate, knowing that Jack has no other weapon more powerful than his family. Jack's rage and the irreparable damage, the consequences for Jack Abbott, are immense. Jack has always been a proud father, and Kyle has been his greatest achievement, the one person he could look to with pride. For years, Jack has seen himself as Kyle's father, guiding him through life and business, and now, with the truth about Kyle's paternity revealed, Jack's world comes crashing down. The anger Jack will feel towards Diane will be unmatched. This betrayal cuts deep, not just because of her actions with Victor, but because she has once again shattered his trust in the most painful way possible. Jack will never forgive Diane for this, for the damage she has done not only to his relationship with Kyle but also to his own sense of identity as a father. Diane's role in this betrayal will forever mark her as the one who tore apart everything Jack holds dear. Jack's hatred for Diane will consume him. The trust he once had in her, built over years of both love and betrayal, will now be shattered. There is no coming back from this for Jack, and he will make sure Diane knows that. The path to reconciliation for these two is now closed, and Jack will seek revenge on Diane, not only for the pain she's caused him but for the permanent damage to his relationship with his son. Kyle's emotional turmoil. For Kyle, the emotional impact of discovering the truth about his paternity will be overwhelming. Raised by Jack, Kyle has always seen himself as an Abbott, and his relationship with Jack has been a cornerstone of his life. But now, Kyle is faced with the harsh reality that his biological father might be Victor, a man he's always seen as the enemy. The emotional betrayal will tear Kyle apart, and he will find himself at odds with everyone around him, Jack, Diane, and even himself. Kyle's identity will be called into question, and he will be forced to navigate the difficult terrain between two families. Who does he belong to now? Is he a Newman or an Abbott? These questions will haunt him, and the guilt and confusion will only add to the strain between him and Jack. Kyle's emotional turmoil will only escalate as he tries to make sense of this new reality, ultimately finding himself caught in a war between two families that both want him for their own. The reckoning. A family torn apart. The revelation of Kyle's paternity will have ripple effects far beyond just the two families involved. The entire Abbott family will feel the impact as Jack faces the truth about his son, and the Newman family will have to deal with the ramifications of Victor's manipulation. Diane, once again, will find herself caught in the crossfire of two powerful men who use her as a pawn in their battle for dominance. Victor's victory will come at a great cost, not just to Jack and Kyle, but to everyone involved. The emotional fallout from this revelation will continue to reverberate through Genoa City, as both the Newmans and the Abbotts are forced to deal with the consequences of a truth that can never be undone. Jack's fury, Kyle's confusion, and Victor's triumph will reshape the future of these two families, leaving scars that may never heal. As Diane watches her world crumble, she will realize that this is the moment where everything changed, the moment where her actions irreparably damaged the family she once wanted to belong to. In the end, there is no forgiveness for Diane. Her betrayal is too deep, and the hatred Jack feels for her will burn brightly for years to come. The damage done will be lasting, and no one will be able to undo the harm caused by this one night of weakness. The Newman and Abbott families will never be the same again, and the war between them will continue, fueled by the secrets of the past. February 2nd.